Hi everybody, so I'm Cherry and this is my first Facebook Live, so be kind. I am the head practitioner for Metabolic Balance in Australia and New Zealand, and I love the program and I've taken it on to help manage here and train up other practitioners. And I just wanted to share with you today an answer to one of the main questions that I get asked is, so I get my Metabolic Balance nutrition plan and that gives me the list of foods that I need to eat. It gives me the food list, the menu plan that I need to plan my meals around. Does this mean that I'm eating this for the rest of my life? And I just want to answer that question really simply, absolutely a big no. It does not mean that you forever eat off a food list. It really doesn't. And I want to share with you the beautiful thing about MB in that what your food list and your menu plan is really doing is that it's teaching you how to be well when it's really important that you get it right. So if I kind of go into my little bit of an explanation, actually what I'll actually start doing, because many of you may be not even quite sure how we generate the nutrition plan. So I'll start off straight away with that, to be honest. The nutrition plan comes from your blood values, your body measurements, and your current health information. So that would be if you're on any specific medications or if you have any specific conditions like Hashimoto's, high blood pressure, acne. There's about 60 different conditions that we can take into account. And we send you off for a blood test to the local blood pathology collection centre, which if you are in the majority of Australia might be clinical labs. In Queensland it would be QML pathology, and in New Zealand it would be, which one is in lab tests in New Zealand. And that would enable us to get the correct blood results, which gives us your liver results, your thyroid, your general blood chemistry, your inflammatory markers, your pancreatic functions, 35 different parameters that we look at. We put all of that information into an amazing database, and then it generates your menu plan and food list, which kind of ends up looking like this. And if a food is listed on your plan, you can eat it. And if it's not listed, you can't eat it. So it's really beautifully simple. It's really just, you know exactly what you need to do every single meal. And so you follow that plan. Now, as I said, number one question I often get is, so when do I start eating normally again? Or when do I stop eating these foods? The beautiful thing is that as you start eating the foods that are listed on your food list, which are just beautiful proteins, the right meats, the right fish, the right chicken, the right poultry, obviously not the right chicken, but the right poultry, the right legumes, the right vegetables, the right fruits, they're all listed exactly what you need to eat. Once you start eating those foods, then your body is allowed, it can change, it can go forward, things shift. So I often refer to foods as the three piles of foods, which I think when you know what is in your three different piles of food, that is where you really get an incredible future health. So imagine if you put all the foods that you would like to eat on your kitchen counter, and you totally decided you're going to sort them out into working out what works for you and what doesn't. What we know with your MB Metabolic Balance food list is what goes in pile one. Now pile one is that food list that is those foods that just suit you beautifully, that when you eat them it's just like your body is able to really relax. It can properly digest it beautifully, and you can really make a massive difference to your health. This is where we get that reduced inflammation, we get the weight is naturally released, energy increases, skin improves, sleep improves, the whole just general well-being is improved. You wake up feeling alive, and you know that you can really thrive. Now, as you progress through the program, as you get to that place of well-being and you really start to feel good again, we are then going to slowly add in other foods that you might typically really like to have that aren't necessarily on your food list. But we're really looking at whole, natural, local, seasonal, just beautiful, fresh produce. And we can really identify then what foods kind of just will never work for you. The ones that will sort of really drag you down, that will really cause problems, as in the genuine food intolerance problem foods. When we know what those foods are, that's where we can put them in pile 3. Now, I personally always file the pile 3 foods are actually really, it's a very small pile. It might just be 1 or 2 foods. I find that when you get the gut health really nice and healthy, when the gut lining is beautifully healthy, when the body is not in a state of inflammation, then you're not reacting so much to any other foods. So people who may have multiple food intolerances, I personally think it's something like there's one food that's really causing the problem. It's like having that real bully in the playground that's just driving everybody else to have a problem. And what we want to do is find out what that genuine bully is, put it in pile 3, put a bit of a ring fence around it. I like to put a bit of flashing lights, maybe a few stop signs, and just know that food, you're not going to go there. You're going to really keep that food to an absolute minimum. All the other beautiful fresh foods that we have in the world that are, like I said, seasonal, fresh, whole, just yummy, delicious loveliness, and they're not on your Metabolic Balance food list, they would sit in pile 2. So ultimately, what we really want to get to for you is that we know what foods are in pile 1 and what foods are in pile 2 and what foods are in pile 3, because that is a genuine empowerment for the future. So pile 1 foods, that's your MB food list. That's the food that we have calculated from your analysis, from your blood test, from your body measurements, from your current medications, from your current health conditions that you're going through. That's how we work out pile 1. Pile 3 is a little bit of a really clever trial and error, just with really working out and just deciding which foods are never ever going to be good for you. And it's really important to know what those foods are, because those are the foods that do drag your health down, just drag you into feeling like shit in many ways. Excuse my language. But when you know what's in pile 2, which is an enormous pile of food, you can really have a beautiful quality of life. And the best bit, to be honest, once you know what your pile 1 food is, i.e. you know what your Metabolic Balance foods lists are from your analysis, you have always got a beautifully safe list of food that you can go back to at any point in the future. It's a little bit like leaning in to the good stuff, because it's a simple fact of life. We do not ever stay in perfect health forever. It's just, that doesn't happen. We all have our ups and downs. But what's the real empowering, beautiful thing is if you know what to feed yourself when you're having a bit of a down, when you're having a bit of extra stress, when you've caught some infection, or when you've got some sort of health condition that you're really struggling with at the moment. If you know the foods that really, really work for you, you can lean into them for a couple of weeks, even a week, even maybe just a few days. or you may do it a little bit longer. But that is the truly empowering stuff about it. So, you know, metabolic balance is all about teaching you the right foods for you. This is the full, you know, this little, your plan is the full product list of MB, because all we want to do is teach you your foods. We then can sit back and let the body kind of do the rest of the work, and it's really beautiful to see. So I hope that's kind of answered that question, because I think there's a lot of fear sometimes that people think that by taking on a single food list that they're going to think, well, that's too restrictive for me. But it really isn't, because it's a beautifully wide range of foods that you can eat, and it can really empower you for a lifetime, because you will always know where to go back to find that safe haven for a little bit, to regroup and just get yourself well again. So it's been wonderful talking to you today, and I'm aiming to do more of these Facebook Lives, so you will. Oh, hi Louise. Hey, from Toronto. Hi, lovely to see you here. It's been great talking to you, and I will fill you in with more of my little snippets of info about MB over the coming days, weeks, months, years, because I love this program and it changes clients' lives so beautifully. It's so empowering and just lifts people up into a beautiful place of wellness. Okay, so I'm going to finish there, and it was beautiful being here. Thanks ever so much.